What's up, world? It's Graffiti University Comics back at y'all. This week I got a good topic based on a true story, right? I wanted to share this story because it's a very touching story for me, growing up as a little kid, it's about one of my best friends that I grew up with. When I first met him, I'm gonna keep his name anonymous because of the crime history me and him did as teenagers, but one of the things that I would like to say to you, about him was he was one of the most bravest persons. He had a lot of courage, and from him and being around him, I was able to learn and kind of shape my courage and my bravery around him. You know, so the story is, when I first met this brother, he was driving in a stolen car, right? And I'm just going to show you how our choices in life, the choices that we made back then, can affect us today. And my choices that I made back then still affect to this very day. When I first met this brother, right, he was in a stolen car. Back then, we called them steamers, and at the time, that was the thing back in the early '90s. Late 80s, people was stealing cars, people was taking rental cars and stuff like that. And when I first met him, I wasn't driving, but we was still on bikes and skateboards. I love skateboards, right? So my story is he was the kind of dude, he believed in stealing cars. He knew how to get a screwdriver, break the steering, calm them down, and have cars. He would take every week or every other day he was in a different car. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to learn how to drive, and I wanted to be in a car, so it was many nights we would go stealing cars, and I finally was able to branch off and be able to go steal my own car. But I never got to really learn how to break them down, but he would break them down for me, and I would just have a screwdriver where I was able to just start it. And as years went on, we would sometimes get locked up. He would get locked up, and we would be distanced from each other for a while. Sometimes we'll be locked up in the same jails, in the juvenile facilities or whatever. And at the time, that was our only thing. We just stole cars. We had graduated to not breaking cars down to going on car lots and jumping the gates or cutting the gates and going, because back then they used to keep the keys in a box on the outside of the car. So we used to knock the boxes off the cars, break the boxes open, and crank the car up and drive off the lots. But still to this day, I really don't understand why would they do that. That was like car thieves come get me, But in that process, and like I said, as years went on, our mentality began to change. We went from stealing cars to boosting our stores, like stealing name brand clothes. I think back then it was Jabot, Tommy Hilfiger. It was some used jeans. It was different brands. Some of the brands are still named today, but a lot of them have died off. But we was into that. We was into stealing, boosting. We would go in the store like 4-5 deep. We would go in the store and just depot the store, And in that process of stealing, we was caught up in that fast life. We was caught up in the name brands and wanted to keep up with everybody else, trying to impress everybody, and I was one of those victims as well, trying to stay in the fast life, trying to keep up with everybody, trying to impress the outer crowd people that lived around us, and then we slowly and gradually began to sell dope. We started selling crack, and started moving crack and selling crack, and we were selling crack, and the more hungry, the more we sold, the more greedy, the more we wanted, and it was people in the neighborhoods, we was selling rocks, but there was people who was selling weight. There was people who had kilos of dope, you know, and I remember my friend, you know what I'm saying, the same guy that we stole cars together. He was, matter of way, he was a big dude, big black dude, you know. And by the way, this story, later on, I'm gonna put it in, I'm gonna tell detail for detail in one of my books that I got further down the line, you know. But back to the story, yeah, he was a big black dude, so he was the type, like, mind you, we was thieves. We believe in taking, you know. We didn't believe in earning nothing. We was thieves. So we went from stealing cars to boosting out of stores for clothes. Now we went to robbery. We began to rob. But I wasn't really a robber. I really didn't believe in taking from my brother, you know. But when it comes to dope in the neighborhoods, a lot of people, anybody would do anything for drugs, especially a lot. If you smoke the drug or even if you're selling the drug, them are the consequences of being in the dope game. Is where if you got crack or heroin or whatever, you can have weed. The more you have, the less fortunate they will look at you as a target. And we was the less fortunate, and I think we was, at the age we was like 15, 16, something like that. We was young, maybe 13, something like that. And my friend, right, he was hanging around older brothers, you know. I think like they early 20s, maybe, yeah, early 20s, and they was selling more dope than us. But they knew the people with weight. They knew people with big time drugs, you know what I'm saying? And my friend, they gassed my friend up to due to us being hungry for more, and he being hungry for more and more drugs and more fame in the streets. They set him up to a robbery to rob some out of town drug dealers who had like weight kilos of cocaine. Can't remember if it was cocaine or crack. So my friend was caught up with this lifestyle is where he was willing to risk his whole life for the fame. So on this robbery, he met with the people, right, for I think a key, 2 keys or a key and a half. And in this process, my friend upped the gun and tried to rob these New Yorkers, out of town people. And the people rebelled against him trying to rob, and my friend shot one of them in the face 5 times, killing one and leaving the other one injured on the scene. And in this process, he took the a key and a half. Mind you, he's 15, 16 years old. He take the drugs, jump back in the car and pull off. Now it's all over the news. It's all over the news everywhere. On every side. At the time, I was locked up when this occurred. Matter of fact, I was locked up for stealing a car. I was locked up for stealing a car, and I think I was in juvenile for it. And all I could see on the news was 2 shot, 1 dead, a lot of drugs left on the scene. At the time when I seen it on the news, I didn't know it was my friend until when I got out. When I got out, the streets was different. You know, he was on the run, they was looking for him. And one of his friends that he gave a quarter key of cocaine to help him get on his feet, he turned state on him. He told him. The police caught his friend, had him under investigation, and he called my friend and told about where his whereabouts was, and he told him to meet him because he told him that he needed to re-up, he needed to buy more product from him. And he told me, later down the line, I'm going to tell you how I know the full detailed story. So when my friend went to the scene to meet his friend, police bum rushed him and took him into custody. And it was all over the news again. Once again, he was been captured. He's been arrested, you know, and in that process, right, at the time the streets was glorifying what he done. The streets had glorified his lifestyle as sort of like this gangster, this dude that was a real nigga in the streets. This dude he did something that influenced a lot of people. That's how I want to go out. I want to go out like that. You know, like that's gangster. That's, you know, and at the time I was glorifying it, but not even seeing the behind the scenes of the situation. So what I'm trying to get at is this.